Okay, I think this is pretty interesting. The topic of this video is the resurrection body, and this is Luke 24:36. As they were talking about these things, Jesus himself stood among them and said to them, "Peace to you." But they were startled and frightened and thought they saw a spirit. And he said to them, "Why are you troubled, and why do doubts arise in your hearts? See my hands and my feet, that it is I myself. Touch me and see me, for a spirit does not have flesh and bones, as you see that I have." And so these verses are Jesus appearing to his disciples in bone and flesh. And we would call these disciples apostles because they walked and talked with Jesus. And then we have Paul's understanding of what the resurrection body is. So Paul is considered to be an apostle, and he had a vision of Jesus on the road to Damascus, where Jesus says, "Paul, why do you persecute me?" Because Paul was a Pharisee after the crucifixion of Christ, and he generally set up the strong presence of the church within Rome, actually. But we consider him to be an apostle, even though he only saw the spirit of Jesus. And if you look in 1 Corinthians 15:35, it says, "But someone will ask, how are the dead raised? With what kind of body do they come? You foolish person," this is Paul's words, "what you sow does not come to life, unless it dies. And what you sow is not the body that is to be, but a bare kernel, perhaps of wheat or some other grain." And so we see evidence of this spiritual body as well. And so we see a distinction here between the physical and the spiritual, and how the physical can perish and become the spiritual. And I would like to add that the spiritual can also perish, as we know about the second death as told in Revelations 20:11 through 15, where the dead are thrown into the lake of fire. And so I would like to draw some conclusions on the physical and the spiritual based on the logic of these premises. And so, by my understanding, after Armageddon, and then after the 1,000-year reign, there will be a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth has passed away. And so we are promised resurrection at the very end. And this is a promise of flesh and blood. We will be resurrected at the very end, those that believe in Christ, in flesh and blood, and put back on a earth where we walk with God. And we have this promise by Jesus's resurrection that God will bring back flesh and blood into a better earth. And if we use the logic provided by Paul about dying so that what you sow comes to life, we can see that the flesh needs to be put away so that the spirit can come to life. And so we must observe this in order to have fruit in our life, right? And this not only is associated with the flesh, but dying spiritually to something will also create fruit, even though your flesh still lives. Essentially, you can plant an idea, and you plant it, you stay back away from it, and it grows into a plant. Maybe water it here and there, but essentially, this is the framework of Christian logistics of the spiritual world and how to create fruit. Okay, God bless, and share this video.